August 3rd, 1970. Hurricane Celia made landfall in Corpus Christi, Texas, with maximum sustained winds of 120 miles per hour, equal to a Category 3 on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. People hoped for the best, but hoped for the worst, to pass over the land of Corpus Christi. Hurricane Celia.
For 4 terrifying hours, Celia's winds blew at hurricane force. At the height of the storm, sustained winds blew at 130 to 140 miles per hour. Tremendous gusts exceeded 180 miles per hour. By 5 o'clock, practically all electric power was out. Telephone service was critically disrupted. All Corpus Christi radio and television stations were off the air. Stations at Sutton, Robstown, and Alice were also off. Throughout the storm, the only broadcast voice that could be heard from the coastal bend came from the combined facilities of KINE and KPUP in Kingsville. The calm voice of station manager Andy Cook was the only contact most people had with the world outside.
July 30th, 1970. The Gulf of Mexico. An area of low pressure over the Caribbean becomes Tropical Depression 4, with further strengthening expected as it enters the Gulf of Mexico. Plus, meteorologists at the U.S. Weather Bureau called for a landfall between the Louisiana and Texas border later that week. Eventually, 4 strengthened into Tropical Storm Celia on July 31st, with further strengthening expected as it entered the Gulf of Mexico. But still, the U.S. Weather Bureau called for a landfall between the Louisiana and Texas border later that week. Right behind me is a satellite animation of Hurricane Celia captured by NASA's ATS-3 satellite. However, this is far from a unique scene. Celia underwent rapid intensification, reaching Category 4 intensity on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. The minimum central pressure dropped to as low as 944 millibars. Sustained winds in the eye wall were at 140 miles per hour.
Unexpected westerly turn at 5 a.m. pointed Hurricane Celia straight into the coastal
However,
bend area.
Celia's story became a different one.
News media
It turned west towards Corpus Christi, and residents were advised to complete hurricane preparations before mid-afternoon. And then, Celia's landfall was later predicted to be a high-end Category 3 or a low-end Category 4 on the Saffir-Simpson scale. Celia later made landfall in Corpus Christi with sustained winds of 120 miles per hour, equal to a Category 3 hurricane in the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale.
For 4 terrifying hours, Celia's winds blew at hurricane force. At the height of the storm,
Celia later made landfall with maximum sustained winds of 120 miles per hour, equal to a Category 3 hurricane in the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. Historic winds, torrential rainfall, catastrophic flooding, storm surge. All was the reason the destruction in Corpus Christi was unpredictable and unimaginable. And if you're asking me about the aftermath, yeah, I hate to say this to you, but it was completely unimaginable.
The light of morning confirmed the worst fears. Corpus Christi had been dealt a staggering blow, and so had its neighbors.
As for my conclusion, I believe Celia was the worst tropical cyclone ever recorded to strike Texas. Not eventually the worst, but actually the worst to strike Corpus Christi in recorded history. It was the costliest tropical cyclone ever recorded in Texan history until Hurricane Alicia in 1983.